Dumelang Baratua and welcome to the archive. So what's your relationship with jazz like?
Being an indie artist is hard, but if you love what you do, you must just invest,
I think that's very brave because I think independent artists aren't given that.
How I found jazz, I don't know, it's just something that came to me.
Where we explore the stories of artists, unpack their journeys and shine a light on their art. Nakalibito, I'm Hope Mareka, and this is the archive. So in today's episode, we're joined by a phenomenal international jazz artist who continues to shine the jazz flag. He does some fashion, he loves literature, but I think my favorite thing about him is how proud he is of being an African. Kalibito is Rorisang Saul Madiope.
Hey, Bobby.
Wow.
Hey, good to be here.
Welcome.
Nice intro.
Thank you.
Feel special.
You are special.
So, yes, sir.
Wow. Okay. Well, here at the archive, we like to identify as a home of African artists. And I feel like when you're at home, we don't have to tell people. I think you can be comfortable enough to kind of share who you are. I could read your bio here, but it's not going to have that soul spice. So for our listeners at home, who is Saul Madiope?
Who is Saul Madiope? That is actually an interesting question because it keeps evolving. But I think more than anything, Saul Madiope is a guy born in Pretoria. I'm 32 years old.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Fell in love with music at a young age. The influence was too much. Church, mostly. I was a church boy, hard. And the music at church influenced. I learned my first instrument at church. Never understood the music part, but I could hear well. So I'd always play by my ear. And also my family, like my cousins, that I grew up with, their influence on me via music was immense. And then my dad, of which is a person who introduced me to jazz. Those long drives, wherever, you'd be introduced to different artists, so I was fortunate enough that he would play too many things, that influenced my ear. And yeah, I fell in love with music and also into school. But the 9-to-5 life, it's keeping me as a normal guy. I go to work. Sidebar, I was late for the interview, guys, because I was out. I was so sorry. But
Pick a bag. You need to.
yeah, one had to find a balance. So it was going to school was that just the thing I can lean on so I can have enough to even power my own dreams, So I think I started producing in 2019, officially. I had been around music, just managing, learning the admin side. I met a guy called Goon. He's also Gumfana, and he had a media company. So being around him, I learned a lot about artists and the business of music. So by the time I started music, I understood a lot of the business side because a lot of artists would tell you how they got robbed or whatever. So we had a lot of knowledge about that. In 2019, I started producing. Yeah, man, I fell in love with music and I've never looked back. So today we're here. And how I found jazz, I don't know. It's just something that came to me. But yeah, that's me, man. Just a normal guy who loves music. I'm a dad as well, and I've got a beautiful daughter.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm all about that. But I'm a simple guy, nonetheless.
That's a mouthful, but it's a beautiful expression. And I love when you say you don't know where you found jazz. I find that so interesting about genres. and about like creativity. And I feel like creativity chooses us,
Literally.
you know, because if you look at it, you could have done any other genre, but you chose this genre that in the world is so unique. So what's your relationship with jazz like? Like, and who do you like to listen to? Like, you know, like what?
Jazz, man. Jazz is like, I think for me, the first, like I said, the first meeting I had with jazz was through my dad. So he played all kinds of jazz that I still listen to today, you know. And but then what would happen is then you'd go meet my cousins who would play like lounge music, for example. And it was like, hey, this sounds like jazz, but it's not jazz, but it's like aligned. It's like they're from the same family, you know? And I guess that influence in itself just like made me fall in love with the sound. And instruments like an instrument is always something I wanted to play as well. So I think the saxophone for me, it was like when you think saxophone, what is jazz?
Yes, it's sexy, it's tone, like it's just such a nice. I don't know how to explain it. It's like
It stands alone. Even
it
when
it does.
playing the sax on stage, like when they play, you can hear that it's something that is totally different. Even the instruments for me like are special. So I think also at the time I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, sharp, I want to produce and I'm producing. Mara, I don't want to force myself to make what everybody's making, which is beyond, you know what I mean? Or hip hop, for example, you know. But I was like, let me rather do something totally different. So I think that decision was mostly informed by saxophone, you know, and naturally that's where it progressed too. And I ran with it, and yo, I love the fact that I ran with it because even in that, I found myself in that, you know, I didn't know where I was going and I was winning it basically. And yeah, that winging it got me to this place. So sometimes you do have to wing it. I mean,
So, like, how do you learn how to play a saxophone? Like, what do you, because, like, you say that you learned through YouTube and, like, a friend of yours, like, taught you how to mouth it. But for real, like, that, it's like, firstly, the breath control and, like, the fingers, because, like, it seems so complicated and you have to breathe, but you're playing the, like, it's like, but the sound, and it's like, what is your learning capacity when you are learning this instrument, and not only from like a physical point of view, but even like learning the saxophone? Do you get me?
I get you. I think, to be honest, at first, Pella, I bought the saxophone and it sat there for like,
Is it expensive?
yeah, instruments are expensive. I don't know, but the sax also is so expensive. Yo,
So now you are saving money to buy
this is
this.
showing us, guys. Music is hard, but being an indie artist is hard, you know. But if you love what you do, you must just invest. You know, it'll come back someday. But I bought a saxophone. I was on a trip and I saw it on sale. Like it had been marked out, and I was like, "Ish!" But I always wanted to play this thing. And I just started producing, and I felt like I was hitting a ceiling with my production. I was like, if I can learn how to play an instrument and add it to the production, it will add more value. So I bought that saxophone, and it probably sat for a good 2, 3, 4 months, you know. And when COVID hit, you see, COVID was not a good thing, but even out of bad things, good things can come. You know?
Yes.
And for some people, especially like artists, we got a lot of time to spend with our art. So that's where I like drew closer to the saxophone, and it was crazy. The similarities between a flute and the saxophone are like, yeah, that's how
Okay, so it's like,
actually viable, man.
that's interesting because you first learned how to play the flute at church at 12 years old. So already your destiny you had pre.
Didn't even know.
Imagine. And now that you're saying, like, I'm actually picturing it. You could have been the drums guy at
You know what I
church.
mean? Yeah, but then the similarities for me came naturally. I could never read music. I still don't know how to read music, but I can hear. I use
That's
my ear.
interesting.
Yeah, that's So that's how I played the sax, and I then obviously realized that obviously this thing needs practice. Like instrument needs practice like every day. And sometimes I'm just that guy, I go to work, come back, I'm tired, I want to sleep. So, but I know there'll be a time when I'll just be solely focused on music. But till that time comes, I rehearse when I can. I've got a brother of mine who I rehearse with. His name is Malusi. So he's super with it. He does it almost like every day, if not every day. So that's one person that like really helps me with learning more and more. Cause I don't think you can always like do better. So I feel like even now I'm at a level where there's a lot of room to grow in terms of my style of playing and how I play. I'm even open to learning about music, like to read music. Uh, but yeah, for now I'm just winging it.
That's aren't we all winging it? Because I think this expectation that we have that somebody has it all together, it's a myth. I have seen some of the greatest people, including yourself, and at the end of the day, like you're just really trying to figure out life. But this artistry that we have, this gift that we carry, is like breathing life into us continuously, and from that life we get to take it to the world and go international with it. That's crazy, dude. How do you feel? Like New York billboard.
Yeah. Nah, that was nice, man. Like I wanna get the out show with the happiness. But also it was like um people like think things are far, but things are actually just here. It's just about research. And I always say this, I'm like, if there's something you want and you think it's too far, just research. You'll find that like there's this rule of like if you search for something, it starts appearing.
It's gonna come
Yeah,
back to you.
so you just research. So I mean, even the billboard thing, it was research. And you think because I'm an independent artist, so a signed artist might not have to research because there's people at the label who's
That is doing that for them.
yeah. But when you're indie, you need to go find out how do I put my stuff up on a billboard or whatever. So
But isn't that like um so rewarding because you did that?
yeah,
Like
and knowing that you put yourself on.
and that's like you bet on you to that point that you're saying like New York, I'm here, babe. And that's brave. I think that's very brave because I think like independent artists aren't given that, because I think as much as we're all in the front line together, we're not doing it the same and we don't have the same resources. So when you as somebody that is putting in your everything, you're working a 9 to 5 to chase your dreams. I think that's beautiful. And you say that you don't consider yourself like an industry nigga.
Yeah, I no.
But you are. You're a creative. You're an artist, and I feel like the industry takes. You are one of us, and I think that's like what we're trying to do here is that all artists exist, and there's different types of artists. And I think that's so brave of you, like to go out there and own your work.
Yeah, I think with me saying I'm not an industry nigga is like I'm like a normal dude. Like I can walk in the mall and nobody needs to know who I am. It's like so rewarding. Like
You like the privacy, the autonomy.
I like that. I don't like that attention. You know what I mean? My life is fine the way it is. So when I say I'm not an industry nigga, I won't be like part of what the industry is part of. Like I operate on my own rules. Like um, I, I'm not kissing anyone's ass. I'm not. If I'm somewhere, it's because I want to be there, not because I have to be there because of wow, wow, wow. You know what I mean?
So you're not playing the game, you're playing Soul's game.
Exactly. That's what I'm crying about. And being your own master and not being mastered by other people. Because if in the industry sometimes You have to do things because of the industry saying let's do it like this, and because you find yourself in that space, you have to move like that, and sometimes it might drain who you really are, so I always want to operate from a space where everything is on my terms, yeah.
That's how when is it costly to do that? Because like the game. There's a game.
No,
It is a game, and it's being played. So when you are playing in your own rules, when is it costly? Because sometimes people will be like, "Aibo obutiwo, why? Rona re tsamaya so, yena ha batle, why?"
Yeah, and like that's always gonna be a thing. Wa e bona, ne? And it's like me deciding to walk this path is not because I don't want to operate by the industry or whatever, but it's like I don't want this thing to change who I am. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to lose myself to something. So it's like even with being indie, that's the thing. They're like the sign artists will look at you like, "Hey, we're not pitna no pitiri." Oh, what you? But we're not a signile. You know what I mean? But it's like I'm okay because I'm not in a rush. You see, like the difference with me, I'm not in a rush to get anyway, step by step. So I don't need to, as long as I give music, because at the end of the day, that's where me and the industry meet.
It's music.
Music, that's where we meet, and that's where the place I love the most. So that's where I'll meet them. Quite music, but anything else, itoko ing da 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 da, they'll count me out. You know what I mean? If I come somewhere, it's because if I come to your event, for example, it's because I'm coming to support you, not because I'm there because I was told, or no, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and and I know like rejection is a thing, man. Like being an artist, you have to be ready for rejection.
Yo.
You know what I mean?
And it's like that rejection, right? It's real, and you kind of have to be okay with it. I think like for me, I faced rejection for a few years, and I kind of like thought I was not good enough for this gift that I carried. But I just later on, as it kept happening, I was like, hey, maybe this is God redirecting me into a different direction. Maybe this no is leading me to the right yes. Or maybe this collaboration that didn't happen led me to the gem. And like you love collaboration, you believe in it, and the people you collaborate with also, they're so uniquely gifted. So like, what's your process like when you choose?
Okay. So usually before anything, I'm a fan. Like, and I'm a fan, guys. I'm a fanboy. But whether that, so anybody I feature or whatever, I'm listening to their music. So for me to reach out is always me like finding what, hey Joe, yo, this person bangs. I wanna hit them up. I think So that's my process more than anything. I listen to music, and if the artist that I listen to is accessible, because I listen to a whole lot of local music. I love vocalists. A lot of music that I listen to is vocally inclined, and also Instagram is such a dope place if you use it for the right things. Like you find artists that sponsor their pages from different countries. You find that it's an artist, an independent artist who just had a sponsored post, and it pops up on your page.
I get what you're saying, yes.
Watching the video, like, hey, this person, man. Or you're checking page, yeah, hi. And then you find that this person maybe is from, I don't know, the Netherlands, and they're open to collaboration.
That's beautiful.
So, like, that's just how I do it. I'm a fan more than anything.
I love that you're saying that you're a fan, because I think I'm a fan too.
Fan of you.
Oh, I'm a fan of you too. And I think like that fan thing is like the recognition of greatness. Because it's like, yo, you're so good at what you do, man. And it's beautiful to acknowledge that. Because I think we want to be too cool
That's the thing.
to acknowledge that, dude, you're cool, dude. So like, what is going to take away from me if I acknowledge your greatness, So I think like this this spirit of unity and like collaborating with people that you genuinely like their music. So you're working with them and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm working with you.
That's it. That's the feeling. That's the feeling. You know what I mean? And that's why it goes well because the point of departure of me being a fan, like you said, it's in a good spirit. It's acknowledging greatness. I like what you say. So from there to finish, everything's gonna go well because it comes with a good intention. And then they'll be like, "Hey, I like your music. It sounds nice. Whatever. We work, and yeah, we make magic."
I want to go to your music. I love your music. Firstly, it's so spiritual.
Yeah.
We're going to go there. But I want to first start with Memories of Rue. I think that song is so special, especially when I hear the backstory of like where it comes from, and it's like a tribute to your father who has passed away. May his soul rest in peace. What was it like to write a song for the man that introduced you to jazz?
It was so dope. The experience was dope. There's a song I was inspired by, and that song is too much. Memories of Nanzeni, Mark the Clive. It's a beautiful song, yeah. And I was trying to like get the same feeling that that song gave me, and the place I went to search for that feeling was grief. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so creating that song was like memories of Rue, which Rue is my dad, obviously. And then it was like just creating that grief, emotion, and yeah, making that song was beautiful, man. And I think it was took a whole month to make that song.
Was it tough? Like, was it hard?
making the
Did you have like moments where you were like, yo,
Nah, making the music is never tough. Like, I don't wanna lie. That's the
even
fun.
in your grief?
Yeah. Like, Pella, when you're inside of music, everything is like clean. You know what I mean? You could take whatever emotion, and when you take it to music, it becomes nice. Even something sad can still make you content in that moment. You know what I mean? So I enjoy the process. Yeah, one of the making the music is the fun part. I love that part. It's the easiest part for me. It's just everything that comes with it. That's the challenge. But yeah, making that song was I felt good after making it, and I felt like if I'm gonna name this song after my dad, it must bang.
Of
Yeah,
course.
so it really hit the spot, and I was happy with that.
And that album also, like, I think it's so. I remember, you see, I remember just when I was researching you for the other interview, and I like to listen to musicians' music because I feel like that's where you find the essence of them.
Yeah.
And I was listening, I'm like, remember, I texted you, like, dude, this is you? That's so crazy. Like, I don't know, like, where do you draw from, you know? And you speak a lot about, like, your African, like, you create from a place where it's, like, proudly African. What is that, like?
Um, I think for me, it's so important to know who you are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who was your grandmother, your grandfather, where they were from, whatever. Like, you ask yourself why sometimes you'll walk into a white person's house, ne? And then you'll see this wall full of many pictures of many old people and whatever. And that's why they become so strong. When you know like where you're from, it becomes easy to know where you.
Where you
It sounds so cliche, but like I had to learn that cliche line growing up, and like this thing is actually a reality. Like the more you know about Korotagai, the more you kisa or Vostana, ne? And most of my music is inspired by my culture. Wago. So when I conceptualize an album, like when I start thinking about like names for songs, I would already be thinking Orea because I'm speaking about Bikolobe, which is my totem. already I want to direct it like that. But also, I know that outside there's other people who will relate to that totem as well, you know. So if I die tomorrow, they'll 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, but someone will come and find that.
That you marked that
Yeah.
this is who we were
Yeah.
and this we were here.
I feel like, yeah, like reading is a dying thing. So not a lot of people read anymore, but a lot of people listen to music. So it's more now we put history in music and people find it there, you know. So that's yeah.
Beautiful.
That's why I love him. Even Credo Motoa, I love him so much. Like in most of my music, like I always make sure he's there so that when someone hears, maybe they ask, hey, who's this guy? And they go research and find out, you know, because culture nojo is deteriorating by the day, you know. So hence like we have to hide it now in music because people don't really read anymore.
Okay, I want to go speak on that because you say people don't really read, but what we were reading, was it speaking to us as Africans?
That's the problem.
Because now, like, sure, we can read, but we're not reading our history. We're not reading about who we are as Africans, what makes us great as Africans. Rather, we're always looking to the West.
Yeah. That's the challenge.
You know, like now, oh, billboard, like then you like approved, certified, right? And that's why I think like here, that's why I love that you are so proudly African, is that we can make it in our land. You know, we can have ownership in our land, independent artists. We can, you know, have ownership. I think as Africans, we don't have that a lot.
Yeah, we do. Even film, you know, like film is a very important part of how we keep history, you know. Fashion is an important part about how we keep history. So it's like, if we can't put it in books anymore, let's use the other arts. You know, there will be a time when people will start reading again. Because this thing is like an up and down thing with different ages, you know, and different times. But for now, obviously, we look at the trend and say, okay, let's put the history there because young people are listening, you know, young people are into fashion, young people watch song, you know. So it's important to tell the stories through those mediums. Yeah.
What is the legacy of Saul Madiope?
Hey, legacy.
Ankere, akere, re qadile ka bra Ru le Professor Madiope. Hi, Mama. And then you found yourself in the space of making incredible jazz music. And you're just a normal nigga, according to you. But this normal nigga has a legacy. So I want to know, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind with your music? Because there's a message that you're saying.
Yeah. Firstly, I gotta make sure that my children eat, even the ones that are coming. So
Period.
that's point number one, so that I sustain this bloodline. Must be alive, you know.
Generational wealth.
Yeah, that's the first thing. And more than anything, like I said, I think I'm just a vessel for storytelling. At first, I didn't understand what the hell was going on, you know. But once I figured it out, it became clear as water. I'm just a storyteller, and hence, like, it's hard to sometimes take glory in what happens because you know that it's sharp, it came through your body, but it's not really.
There's something that's creating.
Yeah, that thing through you. That's amazing. But then you can always pat yourself on the back. Or why did they select me for this? That's the interesting thing. Why you for this? It's like, whoa, okay.
I ask myself that question a lot
It's deep.
because it's like there's 8 billion people. But Hope Mareka, le Saul Madiope.
Yeah, what, man? So that's where you pat yourself on the back and you just like soak in that thing and yeah, you just storytell. So my legacy is that I just want to tell stories about different African cultures, you know, especially my people, Mapedi, Batswana, Mapitori, yeah, that's my influence. So I always want to tell stories about that. So if you're ever listening to a Saul Madiope song or whatever, you always get a sense of some of that. And my family as well, more than anything. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really, really enjoyed this conversation, and I think it's so funny because the words you use are the words I use. I always say I'm a vessel for stories, and I'm just trying to tell an African story. And I hope that we continue to tell these African stories and that the world starts to appreciate. Actually, they don't have to appreciate us. Let us appreciate us.
Yeah, man, rejection. We were speaking about rejection earlier, and I feel like, man, I've been rejected too many times. Still rejected within music, but like, use rejection to just do better. You know what I mean? Don't let it like crumble you or whatever. So, as long as you know you've done the spun, so that's a buyer. Yeah, use the rejection tool to make you stronger the whole time.
Okay, that's the words of Saul Madiope. Use rejection to make you stronger. I'm your girl, Hope Mareka. We are Archive Media House on all social media platforms, on Spotify, YouTube, and we'd like to thank Art on Denim, Wild House Entertainment, and Ubertainment Media for the sponsorship. God bless you. Love you.